Hello, Southern California, and welcome to this week's edition of Right on the Money, brought to you by the amazing team of Mosley Wealth Management. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio is Tom Mosley. He is the founder and president of Mosley Wealth Management. Tom, my friend, another great week to be back in the studio with you. How are you?
I am doing so well, excited about this show and what we're going to bring.
Absolutely. Well, I know you've been so busy. You've had a lot of folks who've been calling in from the TV show, from the radio show as well, and meeting with you and the incredible team, and so much so that you have competitors in the area that are trying to, what's the right way to say this? You better tell people what's going on.
Hey, look, we would love to meet you in person, all right? And we have workshops every week. We average over 2 a week all over Southern California. Go to our website, mosleywealthmanagement.com, but be careful just punching those numbers in, because I guess when you're on TV and radio and you're out there so many times, people try to steal. Would
pirate,
that be a
maybe
word?
pirate is the right word.
Pirate would be a nicer word for it. So if you go there, make sure you're going to mosleywealthmanagement.com. We're not in Corona. We're in Anaheim. We're in Ontario. We're in Arcadia. We are in Glendale. What did I leave out? We're down in Scripps Ranch. And we have 6 advisors that meet with people. But we have events all over Southern California. Go to our website and sign up for one of those, and you can learn specifically really a deep dive into Social Security, a deep dive into taxes. We're going to start having those events after the first of the year when everybody starts thinking about taxes, you know. And then the big thing is we have a 3-hour retirement master class that we have 2 or 3 every month, sometimes on Saturdays, sometimes during the week. But come to that and you'll get the whole spectrum of what a real retirement plan is all about. But when you go to our website, Mosley Wealth Management, go to mosleywealthmanagement.com and go to there, and you'll see my mug on there and face, and you'll know it's us. And sign up, come to one of our events. We'd love to meet you. I had an event recently where I had about 15 people who came in, and they said, we listened to your show on the radio, we watched your show on TV. It was very flattering. It really was, but I really enjoyed meeting everybody that's out there.
Well, and I can definitely vouch for the fact that what you see on TV is what you're going to get in person as well. So I know you're excited to connect with more folks who are going to come meet with you at your live events.
Unfortunately, Kristen, what they see is what they get.
It's a good thing.
I get that comment so much in the conference room when I meet with people or at the live events. They say, you're the same person here that you are on TV. And
yes, it's
I don't know how to be anybody else. I've 71 years and I haven't learned any other way to do it, you know. And I plan on doing it another 71 years, so I'm excited about it.
Well, yeah. I'm excited for all the folks that are getting connected with you, and we've put together another great show for you at home today. You know, something Tom always says is that success in retirement isn't so much about your lump sum, it's about your income. And this is such an important topic. We talk about this a lot. It's the foundation of anyone's financial house, but we're going to take some different angles with income today, and I know you've prepared a great show to talk about some other things folks need to be thinking about as it relates to generating income for yourself in retirement.
There's a show that comes on the KCET in LA and some of the public television shows. They go over Southern California and they say things that aren't there anymore. And you know, landmarks and restaurants and piers where they had roller coasters and things all over Southern California, and they show pictures, and I'm just mesmerized by those things, because things that aren't there anymore. When you get to retirement, the biggest thing that's not there anymore is your income many times. And you've got to replace it because you don't get that regular paycheck. So the biggest thing that you've got to do in making a transition, well, the biggest thing you've got to do is make a transition, because so many people do the same thing for 40 years, and we have, as human beings, we have all this muscle memory of save, 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 lump sum. We've got a target in mind.
Right. What's your number was a big campaign for so many years. Yep.
And it's not that lump sum, and it's not that, but it's what do you have for income that's coming in on a regular basis. Now, when you're 25, 30, we've said before, we say often, you need to be accumulating. And we help people do that too, don't get me wrong. We can help build you a plan so that 20 or 30 years, you're going to have X amount of dollars as our projection, and you start saving, you do the work, you do the ground, the leg work and the building, and you get there, and we work with you through the years. I've got advisors that are in in their 20s and 30s, so they're gonna be here a long time after I'm here, and they're gonna be helping people. But accumulation and growing that lump sum is different than the distribution and the dispersing of that money and the taking of it out and the paying yourself a paycheck every single week so that you replace that income check that you got from your job, you replace it as a self-employed person by drawing the money from what you've got accumulated. And it's so important, Kristen, so many people don't make that switch.
It's a psychological shift. I was just gonna say that. It's really hard to go from, okay, I'm no longer receiving a steady paycheck from anyone else. I have to create that for myself. And you couple that with the most common fear folks have, which is running out of money in retirement. It makes sense why that's a hard transition.
It is a very, because we're human, okay, and we have that memory and we have patterns, and we want to do things.
Muscle memory, right?
Exactly, muscle memory and maybe the muscle up here memory or whatever. But let me just give you one for instance. In accumulating and building that, if the market has a big downturn, like it's had 50% or thereabout downturns in the past 22, 23 years since 2000. When the market goes down and I'm saving money for retirement, that's a great buying opportunity. When you're in retirement and you don't have the paycheck and you're not saving and accumulating anymore, but you're distributing out from your 401k, from your IRAs, from all of that lump sum, then if the market's down 50%, you have to take twice as many shares, twice as many units out to have the same amount of dollars coming out. It is exactly opposite. And so many, not just people, but so many big box brokerage firms that are out there, they do the same thing with people when they're in retirement that they've done with them for 20 or 30 years or 40 years in building the money. And they do a great job of building the money, but they still leave it at risk in the market. So what we're going to talk about in the next two segments of this show is, what can I do? And if you're sitting out there and you say, what can I do? Well, you can build a retirement blueprint. That's not a savings for retirement blueprint, not a get me to retirement blueprint, but a get me through retirement blueprint in a house that I can live in, and I can have the confidence to do the things when I'm in my 60s that I want to spend money and go do during those go-go years, because I don't do those things if I don't have the confidence that I'm going to have the income when I'm in my 80s. One lady turned around after coming in about 3 months ago, after leaving the conference room for an annual review. She turned around and she says, I've been with you for 5 years. And she says, the thing I love, and I tell all my friends about working with you, is you are just as concerned that I'm able to go to the grocery store when I'm 85, that I'm able to go to Venice, Italy when I'm 65. And that's what we build in a retirement blueprint. And unless you have this change of muscle memory mindset that we're talking about, you will not be prepared to do that and to have the certainty to go spend the money and enjoy it. You'll spend the money, but you might not enjoy it because you don't know whether you're going to make it there or not. Call in for a retirement blueprint. Get on our calendars and meet with one of our 6 advisors in the 5 locations we have. Come in and meet with us across Southern California. We will start from scratch. We don't have them on the shelf. We will start from scratch to build your retirement blueprint, but you've got to call in.
Tom, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call to get your very own individualized, customized, personal retirement blueprint from Tom and the team at Mosley Wealth Management. All you need to do is call that number on the bottom of your screen. Simply dial 866-709-1462. You're also welcome to take out your smartphone. You can just open up that camera app, point, click, and scan that QR code down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Mosley Wealth Management will reach out and connect with you to schedule your time to come in and receive your complimentary retirement blueprint that way as well. It's all about income, and when we come back, we're going to dive more deeply into this important foundation of your retirement plan. Stay with us.
My company now, we're up to 12 people, and we have 6 advisors and 6 support staff. Our main office is right across the street from Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, right above the Partners Credit Union. We're on the second floor above that. But we have a satellite office now in Glendale, north of downtown LA. Out east, we're in Chino. And then down in San Diego, we have a really quickly growing office down in Scripps Ranch. We're still a little bit like mom and pop. We don't just like our staff and our employees. We love them. We have lunch together. I bring in lunch on Mondays and we spend about an hour just talking about the weekend and talking about life with all 12 of us that are there. There's some businesses where everybody pulls together and where everybody pulls their own way. It's definite in our company that everybody pulls together. We care about each other. It blesses my heart to see a couple of my new advisors come in on a Monday and they're talking about the fact that they took their wives out together, the four of them, and went out for dinner on a Saturday night. In fact, one noted person told me recently, he said the chances that somebody would start a business and in your area and get to where you guys are at Mosley Wealth Management is about probably 1 in 50,000 because of the success we've had and the focus we've had on working with people to make sure they don't run out of money.
Welcome back, Southern California. You're watching Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and we are having a very important conversation about all things related to your income. What is the foundation of your retirement plan? And Tom, you know, it's interesting because we, of course, need to talk about Social Security. It makes up a huge chunk of folks' retirement income currently, but there's a lot of news out there. There's also a lot of noise, but a lot of people are concerned about the solvency of Social Security. And so I'm curious, as we start this important piece of this income conversation with Social Security, what do you say to someone who comes in and who might legitimately and with good reason be concerned of whether or not Social Security will be there for them?
Number one, it's a legitimate question. Number two, it's out of your control as to what actually happens with your Social Security. But number three, if the doomsdayers are accurate, what are you going to do about it? I mean, what's your plan? Most of the people who are able to listen to this show or watch this show, you know in life that everything doesn't always work out the way you've planned it. And we've always thought that Social Security would always be there. We've always thought that, I've never thought that a politician would ever consider voting on any kind of bill that would say you're only going to get 77% of your Social Security by 2033. They're not actually voting on that, Kristen, but what they are doing by delaying taking action on Social Security to make it solid and solvent, what they are doing is they're saying we're not voting, and by not voting, we're making it potentially insolvent to 77% of the payout.
Right. I was always taught to not make a decision is to make a decision.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That you've made a decision if you don't make a decision. And the Wall Street Journal came out with an article 4 or 5 months ago, and they actually put numbers on it. If Congress doesn't change the rules by 2033, and we do have a reduction down to 77% of the benefit, let's put real numbers. You, in a retirement plan, are going to have to, as an individual, come up with $8,000 to $17,000 a year that won't be coming your way through Social Security. That's a big impact. So, number one, it's legitimate.
Yep.
Number two, it's out of our control as to what they do with Social Security. But in building an income plan from your lump sum, Kristen, that's why it's important to work with somebody who has contingency plans. I mean, anytime you work in any kind of business, if you've ever had a job and it was more than just a factory job or some job where you just were on an assembly line where you just did whatever came your way, but you had business meetings and strategy meetings. You had a strategy, and in that strategy it was, this is what we plan on happening, but if that doesn't happen and we have to take an alternative route, we have an alternative route. Inside your retirement blueprint, we need to build a plan as to, number one, how's the best way to take Social Security the way it's out there right now? Because until it changes, it's not changed.
Right.
But then two, if it does change, what are we going to do? How are we going to fill in the gap of $8,000 to $17,000? Time out. That's for an individual. If you're married and you're listening to me, double it. You stand a chance of losing $16,000 to $34,000 of your income that's indexed for inflation in retirement. So the big thing that I would say, there's a risk there, and you need to address it in your plan. Now, how are you going to get your income? So how do we address it? You're saying, okay, how do we address it? I heard you, okay?
Right.
So
I can feel it through the screen as well. People are like, okay, what do I do then, right?
Exactly. So you've got the lump sum that we talked about, and you need income in retirement. Well, I want you to think of 3 buckets in retirement. You need to think of a bucket in retirement that's still in the market, because most people that we find retiring are retiring sometimes at 58. I just had a client this week retire at 58.
Wow.
Sometimes they're retiring at 62, at 65, which is more traditional.
Right, waiting for Medicare to kick in, right?
Waiting for Medicare, that's a biggie, because then you don't have to cover your health insurance, which is very expensive if you're 60 to 65, and you've got to consider that in your plan as well. So we have people who are waiting, but even at those ages, you're going to have God given you time on this earth, 15, 20, 25, maybe 30 years to live on this earth out of the lump sum. So you've got to think of that lump sum instead of just all being in a 401k or an IRA. You need to think of compartmentalizing it. Number one, you still need money in the market, and that needs to be to your risk tolerance level so that you can grow. Number two, you need some money in the bank. Life is still going to happen. You need to have some money in a savings account or a money market, an emergency fund, because you don't reach 65 and all of a sudden emergencies stop. And so, in fact, sometimes with some people, emergencies accelerate rather than decelerate at 65.
Right.
But then you need to also have a portion of that lump sum. You need to dedicate that to, how am I going to draw my income? Now, one way to do it, and this way still leaves your money at risk in the market, but to take that growth bucket, leave it in growth in the market, take your bank bucket, put it in the bank, but take the money that's in your income bucket and put away 3 years, 4 years, 5 years worth of income, and take the risk level on that and bring it way, way down. And just do a monthly withdrawal and leave it at risk in the market where you're going to make a little bit of money. You could lose a little bit of money still. It's still at risk, but you still leave it and you still reduce risk and you draw the money out of there for your income. Now, this growth bucket over here, every time you have a real banner year, replenish the income bucket. Replenish it every year. If this market is down over here, that's the reason you keep 3 to 5 years over here. You don't replenish it if the market's down 20%. So that is a way to build an income flow using the 3 buckets if you are still willing to leave it at risk. Now, you need to find out about that. That might be the plan you need. But when we come back, I'm going to show you a way that you can take the risk out of that income bucket and be sure that you're going to have a guaranteed flow of increasing income for the rest of your life. See, you say, well, which one's best for me? I don't know. I don't know until we talk to you. We have to have you pick up the phone, call in, talk to us. We sit down with you and build from scratch your retirement blueprint. I want you to get that point. And then we put it on paper for you, and you decide if you want to work with us or not, or you might want to go do it yourself. But you've got to call in to get a written retirement blueprint so that we can consider with you all of these things. And our job is to give you your options. Your job is to make the decisions.
Tom, I absolutely love your passion for this, and I love how deeply you're able to explain all these different components of what it truly means to have an income plan, a solid written financial plan for your retirement, because at the end of the day, it's all about income. It's not so much how much money you've accumulated over your lifetime, although of course that does play a factor, but rather your ability to be able to generate an income that's going to last you for the rest of your life. So we encourage you, pick up that phone, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 866-709-1462, or again, you're welcome to click and scan that QR code down in the bottom right-hand corner, and that will get you connected as well. More on today's show right after this.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision. So why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Well, welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and we are talking today all about income, about the income that you need to set up and generate for yourself in retirement. And Tom, you said something really fascinating to tee up this next segment, talking about taking the risk out of the income bucket so that folks don't have to live in fear of running out of money, because that is the biggest fear. You know, I've traveled the country and worked as a financial educator. I think the common question most folks are asking is, am I going to be okay? Translation, will I outlive my money? That's the biggest fear people have. So with our income, we need to be careful and structure it in such a way that it's not all subjected to market risk. So I'm excited to have you unpack this for us.
Well, and then as I alluded to in the last segment, some people choose to insure their income so that you pass when you insure something, you pass the risk of that off to an insurance company. And there are products that, you know, let me just ask you this. What if there was a product that gave you guaranteed income for as long as you live? All right? And even increasing income as the market grows, you get part of the market gain. You never get any of the market loss. Just listen to this. It gets better and better. And it lasts as long as you do. And if you're married, it can be built and patterned so that it lasts as long as a surviving spouse lives. And get all of this, even after you run out of your money. You said, wow, that would be an unbelievable product. Well, that unbelievable product has taken a lot of grief, all the way up from some financial advisors, all the way up to the administration themselves recently has talked negatively about it. But this is, you say, that sounds like a pension. A pension is backed up by one of these things. It's an annuity, and a lot of people never give credit to an annuity. Let me go over them again. Gives you guaranteed increasing income for as long as you live, if you're married, as long as your spouse lives, and even after you run out of money, you're still going to get an increasing income flow from this. If you have your money at risk, as we talked about in the second segment, in an IRA, just think with me, and you live and live and live and live, and you draw and draw and draw and draw from that IRA, and you get down to zero at that big box firm, and you go down to the office and you want to meet with your advisor down there, and you ran out of money last year, and you're 83 years old or 84 years old, and you say, oh, I just came in to see you, Kristen, and you're my advisor, and I ran out of money last year, but I'm still here. I need income. They're going to say, okay, let me go talk to somebody. Hello, police department, I've got a real crazy person in here because you ran out of money in that account and you're still here. You don't have any more money coming from it. That's why some people see the wisdom. In fact, I read recently 36% of the people who are in retirement, they don't have pensions, they don't have sufficient Social Security. So 36% of the people in retirement have an income annuity built into their retirement planning so that they get guaranteed increasing income for as long as they live, for as long as the spouse lives, even after they run out of money. I can't say it enough. There is no other product that will do that. Some of you are sitting out there, and I know you're thinking, whoa, is there something, is there another channel to listen to or to watch right now?
Maybe they hear annuity and they just want to
they just want to shut it off. But you ask people sometimes, do you like your social? Yes, I like my Social Security. Why? It's there. It comes every month. Do you like your pension that you got from your company or from the government if you work for a city or a school district? Yeah, I love my pension. That is strictly, it's even backed up by an annuity. Okay? Now, there are some problems. There are fees in variable annuities and other types of annuities that we do not use.
Right, because not all annuities are equal. We've done shows on this, and it's important to make sure you're dealing with the right kind.
You have to deal with the right kind, because we've run into fees that were as much as 5%. We use annuities at Mosley Wealth Management sometimes that have zero fees that come out of your money. And you're not gonna make as much as the stock market, but we've got annuities that average 3, 4, 5, way even more, so much so I don't even want to say what some of them have averaged because I don't know that they'll do that again in the future, and I know they'll probably do 3, 4, and 5. In fact, some of the guarantees now are 3, 4, and 5% with rates being higher on those same kind of annuities.
And it's interesting because in 2023 alone, annuity sales have really spiked. I mean, they have just grown exponentially, and I think it's because a lot of folks finally realized in 2022, after what we went through where both stocks and bonds were down at the same time, oh my gosh, this part of my money that I thought was quote unquote safe is still exposed to risk. And so the alternative is looking at some of these products and what they can do for you.
You're absolutely right. 2009, the market could go down. Wolf. 2010, wolf. We cried wolf, that the market could go down. For 13 years in a row, it basically did not go down.
Right.
In 2022, fixed indexed income annuities sales spiked because people see the value. They see the value of having that income portion of their retirement money insured, so that it's not going to go down 22% like the market did in 2022. Just remember those numbers, 22% down in 2022. If your retirement does that, and it does that, if it gets back to a pattern where it does that about every 5 years, you're going to have a 20-year retirement where you're going to have to deal with 4 or 5 big downturns in that risk bucket that you're drawing your money from for income. The way to avoid that, if you see the need, we can build them either way, Kristen, and we do build them either way.
And you customize them based on what people are comfortable with, what they want, what they don't want.
Exactly, but people who say, we would never offer annuities, I think they're doing a disservice to people because they're not giving you all the options that are out there on the table.
Right.
And some people have looked at that and they say, well, I'm just going to hate him from now on, all kind. But you might need to open your eyes to look again at maybe insuring that income. Remember the show. It's not your lump sum anymore, it's your income. And if you can guarantee that income, some of you out there are going to say, that's something I really want to look at. If you don't want to guarantee it, we can still build you a retirement blueprint. And we have to build it. And this is a great example of we build it your way. Call in, get on our calendar.
Well, and because you're independent, that means you have all the world as your oyster in terms of investment tools available to do what's right by the client for your individual best interest. So again, that number to call, 866-709-1462. We encourage you, pick up the phone. You have nothing to lose. This is for no cost, no charge, no obligation. Simply an invitation to see how Tom and the team of Mosley Wealth Management can help and serve you. We love you, Southern California. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we look forward to being back with you next week.